Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the Freedom Matters podcast with your girl, Coach Ari. What is going on? Oh my goodness. We are in another month. No, not even another month. We are in the second quarter of the year. And listen, I am genuinely excited for the rest of the year, but definitely for these next 3 quarters. We are in the second quarter of the year, and I feel like we got here so fast, right? Like so fast. We got to the second quarter of the year. And I hope everybody's first quarter was good. So here we are, smack dab in the beginning of April. I think we're in spring already. Like, I don't know. Like, has the first day of spring already sprung? Has it already sprung? Yeah, I'll have to get my life in order. Because why your podcast mic is not ready? Okay, judge me not. Anyways, have we already sprung into the first, day of spring? I think so. I actually have my calendar here. Let's see, y'all. What was the first day of spring? Oh, I think it was last month. But yeah, what's up? What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Freedom Riders podcast. Yeah, I'm really trying to find the first day of spring, y'all. But oh, it's the 20th. It was the 20th of last month, so we're already in the first day of spring. But anyways, we're already in spring. Welcome to the month of April. Welcome to the second quarter. Like I said, and welcome back to the Freedom Riders podcast. My name is Coach Ari. I'm the mindset expert and coach. I teach people how to break the mindset cycles that are keeping them stuck from getting to the success that they desire in their lives, while also helping them create that path to success. It's very important to understand that the first step to getting where you want in life is first dealing with the mind, dealing with the mindset, dealing with how you think, how you process, dealing with mental trauma, things that you've been thinking for years that is clearly keeping you from moving forward, like procrastination, like doubt, like fear, all of those things. But once we remove those things, and I teach you how to renew your mind daily, because there is a process to that, there is a strategy to that. And once I teach you how to do that, then I help you literally map out your path to success. My flagship program is called the GPS plan. And that's because you have to think of life like a GPS. You have to have a destination in mind, right? You have to have a clear mind, a clear vision. Once you have that clear vision in mind, you start mapping out the path to that vision, So that's what I am and what I do. If you're new here, make sure you follow, subscribe, and I hate saying that word. Every time I say that word, it feels so weird. But anyways, make sure you subscribe. My YouTube, on all podcast hosting platforms. You can literally find me anywhere. It's going to be Freedom Riders. But definitely welcome to the space. Welcome to the family. Get comfortable, enjoy it here, love it here. I'm always going to push you to be your best. I'm always going to push you to be your greatest. And I'm always going to check you at the front door. Okay? Yes, that type of energy. So here we are into the second quarter, and it's so crazy because I entitled this episode The Shift. Now, if you haven't heard any of my other episodes, I encourage you to go back and listen because they're all pretty fire. Now on YouTube, there's no previous video podcast, but if you go to your Apple or your Android and search the podcast, you can find the previous episodes there, since the YouTube channel is fairly new for me. But we're into the second quarter, and I entitled this first episode The Shift. And when I was sitting back thinking about like what direction do I really want to go, we've shifted from in daylight savings, right? Now we lost an hour, right? We sprung forward, so we lost an hour. While doing that, we have shifted into the second quarter. And when I really think about the shift and really think about how you have to shift in your life and why it's so important and the different areas I can talk about and discuss, we're just going to flow here. We're going to flow in this because I think there are many shifts that happen in life. I think you have a shift in age, right? From adolescence to preteen to adulthood, all of those things. You have that type of shift. So it's like an internal shift. That's like a time shift. We had the time shift too, right? Where we sprung forward, we lost an hour. So it's like we moved into the future. But, that's a shift. You have a shift in seasons, right? You go from spring, winter, summer, spring, fall, all these things. And so the theme is just shifting, right? I don't know how your beginning of the year was, but if it was anything like mine, the first quarter was like so eye opening. It was so blessed. It was phenomenal, but it was like, it's time to get it. And I've like made this declaration many a times. This is the year of the Lord. Like, you have to be following God and what he's telling you to do. And I don't mean it in some over religious way. I just mean it in everything that you're doing, right? Even in my business, like my business is flourishing because I'm following, I'm being obedient. And so when I think about in my business and I think about in being a businesswoman and just developing and growing in my purpose, right? And growing in my business, it's so interesting that you're always finding yourself in a shift. And I find that a lot of people struggle with the shift because they like to stay the same. They like to stay the same, right? When you work yourself up to a certain point and you've gotten a grasp on everything and you've gotten balance and all this other stuff, when a shift comes, it kind of throws you. It throws you. And what I've learned in my life and in my business is that you have to be okay with the shift. Matter of fact, you have to lean into it. Because one thing you have to remember is we are all created to grow and to develop and evolve. And that comes with a shifting in who you were, shifting in what you were doing. And if you don't become comfortable with the shifts in your life, they will throw you off. You'll find yourself in devastation or frustration or disappointment, because the shift is meant to put you in normally a better place than you were, but you have to lean into it. So let's talk about leaning into the shifts of your life and leaning into the shifts of your business. One thing that was very evident in society was the pandemic. Pandemic brought a huge shift. And this is great because we can look at something that seemingly was very catastrophic, very crazy, but it was a necessary shift. Because so many things happened in the shift of the pandemic. In the pandemic showing up and shifting how we lived our lives, how we walked around, how we interacted, how we went to work, how we thought about going to work, how we thought about money and the government. Like, so many things shifted when the pandemic showed up. What has shown up in your life today, right now, that is causing you to have to shift? And how are you dealing with the fact that you have to lean into that shift? Because one thing we couldn't do was avoid the pandemic. Like, I don't care if you were living under a rock, you knew that COVID was here, right? So you had to adjust. You had to shift with the shifting. I remember when we were coming out of COVID and everybody was like, oh, they're trying to get back to the new normal. And many of us was like, this is the new normal. There is no going back. There is no, let's get it back to how it used to be. Our lives were forever changed and will be forever changed after going through the pandemic, right? Now, if you look at your life, if you look at your business, there are some things that have happened in your life and in your business that will forever change how you do things. Do not make the mistake of complaining, of being disappointed or frustrated because a shift came and shifted your entire life. It shifted your entire business. I think most of us would say, now looking back, in certain ways, the pandemic was phenomenal. Like, so many, shout out to my sisters out there, shout out to the Black women. So many of us rose up and decided that we no longer were going to play the background. We were no longer going to take the back seat. We were no longer going to stay silent about our gifts, our talents, and who we are and all the power that we possess. And we rose up. So many people who were sitting at the 9-to-5s, just letting their life pass away and float away, woke up to themselves and said, I'm better than this. I deserve more than this. This company don't treat me right. I mean, the pandemic showed us a lot, right? So many of us were empowered to change, but there were some people who the shift didn't do too well for them. And this is why I said it's important that you lean into the shifts, because when you fight the shift, you don't come out okay. Say that again. When you fight the shift, you don't come out the same as the people who decided to lean into the shift and say, okay, well, this is the new normal. Okay, well, this is how we do things now. Okay, well, let me look at the bright side of things. Let me look at the right side of things. When I first started coaching, I was a fitness coach. Okay. When I first started business, I was a fitness coach. And so I was coaching women, and it was really just regular, basic fitness coaching. I would train them at the gym, give them meal plans, the whole 9 yards. But I always saw that with women, especially, it was a mental block that stopped women from losing weight. Women don't just want to be overweight for the heck of it. Like that's not our gag, right? That's not the game. But what I found was it was all the things that were going on in her mind that then manifested in weight gain and manifested in bad habits and bad food relationships and emotional instability. It was all the things that were going on in her mind that she had to process. Um, I'm doing that for about, I'm doing like the fitness coaching maybe for about 4 years, 3, 4 years. Okay. All of a sudden there's a shift. And I realized that what I really wanted to do was just mindset coach. I realized that I was very passionate about helping people get their mind right because that's the background that I came from. And while fitness was one of those things that I leaned into when I was going through depression and suicidal thoughts, like I leaned into it, it was really more so about the mind and teaching people how to reprogram their mind, how to break those mindset cycles, how to break that mindset trauma, the thoughts that keep you stuck on repeat, how to get rid of the doubt and the fear that really drove me. It really made me want to wake up in the morning and coach people. So boom, here comes a shift. And I try to tell people you can't be so married to your way that God can't come in and shift you into the way that He has you and that He sees fit for you. Some people are so married to their way that they won't lean into the shift, that they avoid the shift, but the shift is what you need to make your life better. Yes, the pandemic came through like a whirlwind and a wrecking ball, and a lot of horrendous and horrifying and horrible things happen. But the other side of that is some phenomenal things happen. We have so many people rising up in their power and their purpose. We have so many people who are now demanding that they want to live a better quality of life. We have so many people who are now taking better care of themselves and they're doing better with their health. We have so many woke moments happening in society and in the government. And so many phenomenal things came out of a shift that felt like it was going to ruin us. It was going to take us out. I just knew it was like, Lord, we're ready. Like we're ready. We're ready. But I want you to understand that a shift doesn't mean good or bad. It doesn't mean that the shift is pretty. Doesn't mean that it's like good or it's just bad. It just means that you got to shift. So in my business, when I had to pivot, I was fine with it because I leaned into it. I understood that one thing, and this is what you have to understand about the shift and shifting in your life, that you're basically in one vehicle. And then you get to a point where you have to switch vehicles. You get to a point where you have to switch cars, right? It's okay. It is okay to lean into the shifts of your life and of your business. For me, that was a shift in my business. And I had to completely change it. I had to tell people, like, I don't do fitness training anymore. Like, that's just not what I do here. That's just not where I am. And so, but because I was so willing to lean into it, this is what you have to remember is that becoming all that you are and building a business, building a brand, building a legacy is about being able to develop and evolve into everything that you're meant to be and you're called to be. So that's going to look like a lot of different shifts. Shift in mindset, perception, shift in friends. Let's talk about how when you really do decide, oh no, this is what I want to do, and you really do understand how much potential you have, the shifting in your environment. A shifting environment that happens and then one that must happen. I think you guys heard me tell the story before about how when I was going through depression, I had a shift in my friendships. And literally the friends I have now, I wouldn't trade for the world. But when the shift was happening, the shifting of friends, I was devastated because the shift is not always meant to make you feel good. Can we say that? Can we say that? The shift is not meant to make you feel good. It's meant to put you in alignment with where you're supposed to be. Come on. It's not always to make you feel good. The shift is coming so that you shift into alignment with everything you're meant to be, you're called to be, that business is called to be. Some people need to lean into the shift of this business idea is not the idea. This is. I had to come to terms with, I thought I wanted to be a fitness coach. Like it felt like that's what it was. I was making money. I was successful. I had clients dropping weight, but that was not in alignment with where I was supposed to be. It was simply a vehicle. Can you embrace that? Can you embrace that? Maybe what you're doing right now is just a vehicle and there's a shift coming in your life where you're going to have to lean into it and accept and own and embrace the shift because the shift is meant to put you in alignment with your purpose and your destiny. Can you take that? Can you handle that? Is that okay with you? Because that's the real deal, right? That's the real deal. That is what's really behind all of this, is that you got to get in alignment. And a shift allows you to shift into alignment if you lean into it. You have got to lean into the shift. You've got to lean into the shift. Hey y'all, Coach Ari here, and I got a question. Are you tired of being held back by fear, doubt, and insecurities? Are you doing something, or have you started a business and you know this is for me? I know this is what God called me to do. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, this is it, but you're stuck and you're stagnant and you're frustrated. I want to tell you, you do not have to live that way. Number one, God is not a God of confusion. So you're not called to be confused. And number two, God would not give you that burning desire to build that business to become all you can be if it wasn't meant for you. But here's the thing. You got to break those mindset cycles, those mindset blocks and barriers that are keeping you from taking the action, from going after it and going to get it and making that business work. You have to break that. That's where you have to start. You know why? Because everything starts in the mind. If you are not renewing your mind daily, if you do not know how to identify the mindset blocks that are standing in your way and how to remove them, and then start to reprogram your mindset for success, you're going nowhere fast. So I want to invite you to my Mindset Mastery Bootcamp. It is a bootcamp completely designed to show you my framework on how to remove your mindset blocks so that you are able to take the action that you know that you can take and build that business that you know God has called you to build. You do not have to struggle. Struggle is not your portion. Can I tell you that? Can I tell you that being stagnant is not your portion? It's not your story. Can I tell you that you are called to be a legacy leaver? You are called to be a millionaire and make as much money and impact as you want in that business. But if you don't deal with you, you can't move it forward. So I invite you to join my Mindset Mastery Bootcamp. It is a 30-day bootcamp, and we go through 4 weeks of breaking down those mindset cycles, helping you detox yourself from unhealthy habits, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy trauma, so that you can actually take the action you need to take. When you leave this 30-day bootcamp, I can guarantee you will leave with a changed, refreshed, and renewed mind, and you will feel confident to take the steps that you need to take. Visit www.freedommatters.com and click bootcamp and enter the code mindset50 to get 50% off. You don't want to miss it. Dozens of lives have been changed just by going through this Mindset Mastery Bootcamp. I hope to see you there. Let's get back to the episode. So, leaning into the shift. So we're talking about now like the shift in environment that happens and how understanding that shifts are good for you. Understanding that when you don't fight it and you lean into it, it's good for you, and that it doesn't always feel good. Like I said, when I went through that shifting in my friendships, it was painful. It was devastating. I thought I would be friends with these people for the rest of my life. And then all of a sudden things just changed. But let me tell you, if I wouldn't have allowed the shift to happen and leaned into it, I would not have found some of the most phenomenal people ever, who ever lived in my life right now. It was for my good. It was always for my good. It allowed me to put myself around the right people, the people that could help me get to where I need to be, and I could help them, that we can impact each other in a friendship, whether that be in a working relationship. It just made a huge difference. And what I want you to understand is you don't need to be afraid of the shift. And if you've been that person, and I'm talking to you, if you've been that person who's been fighting your shift because you're so common with your life now, you're so used to your life now, so you're thinking to yourself, I'm afraid and I'm scared because I don't know what it's going to be like if I lean into the shift. I don't know what it's going to be like if I say, you know what? It's time for me to go and do my own thing. I got to leave this job. Or you know what? I got to start this business in the midst of working this job. Or you know what? I got to leave this relationship. It's not good for me. It's not healthy for me. You are staying connected and doing things and staying in places that are not good for you because you're so afraid of what the shift is going to bring. But can I tell you something? The shift is for your good. It's for your good. It doesn't make you a failure because you decided to pivot, you decided to shift. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you any of those things. But if you don't shift, Listen to me. If you don't make the shift, you're going to be stuck right where you are, year after year after year after year after year. And there's some of you who need to go ahead and embrace your shifting season. Embrace the fact that what the vehicle you've been using is no longer working. So it's time to shift vehicles. I wasn't disappointed when I stopped doing fitness training, because I felt the awakening of, oh, this is who I am. This is what I was called to do. This is the path I'm supposed to be on. And it felt good. But I could only feel that as long as I was leaning into it. But if I was sitting back saying, oh man, I've been doing fitness training for all this time and now I'm going through a shift and now, like, I would have ruined it. I would have ruined it. And so somebody watching right now knows there's a shift in your midst. There's a shifting in your midst, and you are supposed to make a shift. But you're fighting it because of what? The main thing, that fear of the unknown. Many people don't make it to greatness and success because they fear the unknown. So I think, I don't know the saying, but you rather stay with what you know, even though what you know is not getting you where you want to be, because what you know is way easier than what you don't know. What we fail to realize is, at one point in time, the situation you were in right now, you didn't know. Because we're ever learning, we're ever evolving, right? And so people get stuck in that comfort zone, which comfort is the enemy to success. Comfort is your enemy to success. And so what happens is people stay in the comfort zone wishing for better and more success. They stay in the same place hoping that by some God-given miracle, they'll be taken from there and just teleported, transported, or catapulted into their vision and their destiny. But that's not how it works. You have to decide to leave that place that you're comfortable in. You have to decide that it's time for a shift. It's time for a move. This don't serve me no more. This is not getting me to where I want to be. But your commitment to comfort is killing your success. Oh, your commitment to comfort, your commitment to your normal. Let's go back to the pandemic. The pandemic brought us a new normal. It said, oh, nope, we don't live life this way anymore. And we didn't have a choice. Like, you had to shift, right? But you have a choice. And the choice that you're choosing is comfort, because you're so afraid of the unknown. And I tell people this, everything you want is on the other side of you getting uncomfortable. Even for myself, there are things in my business that I have to do and that I just have to be obedient in, but it's uncomfortable because I'm used to doing it one way. I'm used to doing it my way, but everything I want is on the other side of my uncomfort. It's on the other side of discomfort. And you're only uncomfortable until you make that new normal your comfortable space. And then best believe another shift is coming. Another one, and another one, and another one. Just understand that the reason why the shifts come is because you have a destiny. You have purpose. There's somewhere you got to be. You can't keep running that business the same way. It's not working. It's not working for you. I don't care how comfortable you are. I don't care how much you know the system. The way you're doing it is clearly not working for you. You got to shift. That relationship that you're in is not working for you no more. It's not feeding you. It's not aiding you in the right direction. It's causing you way more stress than happiness. Guess what? It's time for a shift. That job, it's not serving you anymore. That job is not allowing you to grow. It's not allowing you to get better. It's not allowing you to exceed and excel like you thought you were going. It's over. It's time for a shift. And the question is, are you willing to take the next step and the first step in that shifting process? Are you willing? And remember, all you gotta do is be obedient. Be obedient to the process. All you gotta do is say, you know what? And this is really where you have to kind of look yourself in the mirror and say, is my comfort zone so much more important than me getting the life that I desire to live? Is being in this comfort zone around the same people, making the same amount of money at the same job for the last 12, 5, 3, 2, 10 years, doing the same business that you're not even really passionate about. Your heart's not in it. You started it because you were excited, but that's not where your purpose is. You know, when I did fitness coaching, I did it because my husband did it. And I lost weight and I started getting into it. I did fall in love with working out, but it started from me, one, wanting to lose weight, and two, from me wanting to be supportive. It was never my dream. And that's okay. But if you're anything like me and you're building a business based off of somebody else's dream, it's time to shift. It's time to have that shifting moment. It's time to stop yourself and say, this is not for me. And that's okay, but it's not for me. And I got to make a move. And I don't care if I got to get a coach. I don't care if I got to sit down and start from scratch. I don't care if I got to get some mentors, get around the right people, get in the right rooms. I don't care if I got to switch friends. I don't care what I got to do. But I know that comfort is not where I want to die. I know that my comfort zone is not where I want to lay down and bury my dreams, because I was so afraid of what would happen if I actually shifted, if I actually took the next step, a new step. I was so afraid. So I stayed. I stayed right there in the comfort zone of my job. I stayed right there in the comfort zone of my home. I stayed right there in the comfort zone of my friendships. I stayed right there in the comfort zone of this business. I stayed right in the comfort zone because I was way too afraid to actually experience everything I truly desired. Because that's what you're telling yourself. Listen, I understand that shifting isn't easy. I told you guys a story about having to shift when it came to my friends and or my used to be friends. So I'm not saying that shifting is easy. I'm not even saying that it feels good, because the pandemic didn't feel good. That's for sure. But the pandemic did so much for so many people in a positive direction, right? So although it doesn't feel good, you still have to pursue. You still have to go through the process so that you can see what's on the other side. I'll give you this last little oh my God. I'll give you this last little analogy. I'm a mama 4, okay? My first, I hated, listen to me, I hated being pregnant. I hated being pregnant. My daughter, my first, pulled me through the ringer with pregnancy. I threw up for 9 months straight. It was horrific. And in my mind, I was never going to have another child because of my horrific experience with my first pregnancy. I didn't have the pretty pregnancy where people like taking photo shoots and they're doing all this and they're rubbing oil on their belly and they're smiling. No. I was mad 90% of the time. But here's what I'll say is that if you ask me would I do it all over again for any of my children, I would tell you, heck yes. I would tell you I would get so uncomfortable. I would lean into the shifts that my body makes to carry life. Do you know why? Because I'm so phenomenal that I get to do that. And I know that the end result is so much greater than the discomfort that I'm feeling. I'm speaking to one of y'all. You're staying in the same business, in the same job, in the same relationships, the same friendships, the same circle. You're doing all of that, forgetting that little moment of uncomfortableness. Was I uncomfortable for 9 months? I was. I really was. But when I went in that birthing room, it was game on. It was showtime. It was time to shift into my next. It was time to deliver this baby. And those 9 months of discomfort and I think I was in labor with her for 72 hours, all paid off once I got to the finish line, which was birthing my beautiful daughter. It was worth every moment and every second. And what I'm trying to tell you is you're so afraid to shift, but it's going to be worth every moment, every second. It's going to be worth all of the uncomfortableness and all of the and aggravating moment. It's going to be so worth it. So worth it. So stop holding yourself back. Stop being so afraid to go after what you say you want, because it's going to cost you something. See, shifting costs you your comfort. Ooh, write that down. Shifting costs you your comfort. But if your comfort zone is not where your success is, your millions, your legacy, your whatever, if comfort is not where it's at, then baby, it's time to shift. And I want you to shift proudly, and I want you to shift excitedly. The best thing you can do is lean into it. It's the best thing you can do is lean into it and embrace the fact that I don't get to be the same. Oh, embrace the fact that you will never be the same, which is okay, because you are meant to evolve and grow. You are meant to become greater and greater and greater and greater. You were never created to stay stuck and stagnant. Never. So embrace that things will never be the same. And you know what? That's a good thing. For most of us listening to this, for me, for you, it's a good thing that it'll never be the same. It's absolutely phenomenal. Because that means you get to live a brand new, abundant life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Shift. It's interesting, like I said, because we're in the second quarter. And that's a shifting of gears. The first quarter is always kind of getting your footing and what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? Let's get a bunch of planners and journals. Let's speak affirmations over ourselves for the first quarter and just da. But the second quarter, you've been playing for a little while. Think about basketball players. That first quarter, you running, you doing it, you pop. That second quarter comes, and now you in the game. You warmed up, right? Now you're in the game. It's showtime. It is showtime. And it's your time to make the shift in your business, in your life, and whatever it is that you need to. So why? So that you can get to where you truly desire to be. It's your time to make that shift, for you to grow, so that you can get to where you truly, 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 truly desire to be. It's that season. It's the shift. Welcome to the second quarter. Welcome to the second quarter, the best quarter, the next quarter. All right, guys. I appreciate you for listening. Listen. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop some comments below. Give me some thumbs up. Let me know how you're enjoying the episodes. And if there's anything you want me to touch on, you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm down for that. I really hope that this empowered you and this has really challenged your mind and yourself to think outside the box, to go out there and get it, to make the moves that you need to make and do the things that you need to do. All right. Welcome to the second quarter. Make it count. Make it count. Get out of them comfort zones. Ain't nothing there for you. It's not benefiting you. It never has. So get out of that comfort zone and get it done. All right, y'all. I will see you next time on the next episode of the Freedom Rides Podcast. Make sure you share this with somebody. Tag me on your stories if you listen to it. Let me know, what was your takeaway from this episode? Drop it in the comments. Post it on your Facebook. Tag me on your Instagrams. What was the takeaway that you got from this episode, The Shift? All right. Let's get ready for another phenomenal month of wonderful episodes. And I will see you guys later. Bye.